I am EllaAradia and welcome to your Psychic Tarot Love Reading. This reading is for my Taurus, Virgo and Capricorn Earth signs. The timestamps are below, where we'll be taking a deeper dive into your person's hidden feelings for you. This is a love reading, so it's for those of you who are already connected with someone. Even if you are currently in no contact with your person, this will be a very specific message, so it may not resonate for all of you. If it feels right, then it's meant for you. Otherwise, you may want to check out the readings for your other placements, so Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. And before we jump in, a big thank you to all of you who are supporting my channel by liking and subscribing. So if you enjoy this reading and you haven't already done that, please do. It helps the channel out a lot. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and then you can get notified when the next videos are up. So Taurus, let's jump in. I always like to tune in first, Taurus, before I start pulling any cards. I'm a psychic reader, so I like to see what the universe shows me. I'm feeling this kind of energy in many of you of, let's say, a deep knowing in your soul that it might be time to move on. I feel like you are connected with someone here who represents, let's say, an old version of you. And when I feel into, both of your energies, for me, it's a sense of being at different levels. That could be spiritually, that could be, emotional maturity. I feel like the person that you're dealing with is quite enmeshed in, let's say, a certain lifestyle, perhaps a certain circle of friends, which are, I feel, quite influential to the point where I feel it actually holds the person that you're dealing with back from experiencing more of themselves, expanding, growing, experiencing more of life and, reaching, more of their potential. Because they do feel like they are kind of quite caught up in a certain kind of way of being, because that to them is what acceptance is, and being part of community, let's say. But I feel for you, you are wanting to experience more of life and more of yourself. And it feels a little bit like you have, let's say, outgrown this connection to me. With your overall energies, we have the Three of Wands, which is actually what I was just saying. This is an energy of expansion, of possibility, of, making plans, seeing what else is out there. It's very much an energy of moving out of your comfort zone, exploring, new horizons. And it does feel like there is a big invitation for that right now. Your person's view of you is the Sun. Their feelings towards you, the Hierophant. Their intentions, the Seven of Swords. That was going quite well until I pulled the Seven of Swords, because, this is a card of happiness and open-heartedness, joyfulness. Like, they very much see you as someone who is, a light in their life. Because I do feel like you have a very positive energy, very uplifting energy. And the Hierophant here with their feelings towards you, I mean, this is about commitment. This is soulmate energy. These are connections which are built on, mutual values, trust, strong foundations. Because I do feel that this is someone that you have a bit of history with, and the potential is there. And that's probably why you've stayed so long. Because you see that potential, you see what this could be. But it's always like that, with these soulmate connections, there's always an invitation to embrace that potential, but both parties, need to be ready to actually do that. And what you find so many times is that one person is, and the other person isn't quite there yet. And to get there, it's going to involve growing and healing old wounds, looking at old patterns and issues. Because the Seven of Swords is a card of dishonesty and deception. It often represents trust issues in a connection. It represents somebody, sneaking around behind your back, doing things, behind the scenes that they don't really want you to see or know about. Your feelings towards your situation, we have justice, fairness, balance. There's something that's feeling, one-sided about this. It feels a little bit like for a time, it was something that you did get something from. The connection did serve a purpose. I feel like I just keep getting this really strong feeling that I feel like you're dealing with someone that gets really sidetracked by, let's say, a third-party energy. So third-party energy doesn't always mean, another romantic connection. It can be anything. It can be career. It could be family. It could be friends. But there's something that I'm feeling around a certain kind of level of, let's say, toxic behavior here. Might be dealing with someone who's very social, maybe has, I feel, got their priorities not quite aligned. Because to me, it feels like you are feeling unfairly treated in this. Your needs are not being met. You are not being prioritized. It's almost like they're putting other people before you all the time. When you're in there, I feel trying to, really kind of get to that potential with this person of, what this could be. Justice is an energy which comes in to cut through any situation to bring about fairness and balance. And for some of you, this isn't going to resonate for all of you. I feel like something may have come to light where you may be dealing with somebody who might still be married. That's the feeling I'm getting. That's not going to be for all of you. And that is what I'm sensing might be going on for a certain group of you with this Seven of Swords here. Something, that has been hidden that, may have recently come to light, or it may just be a suspicion at this moment, but you may be dealing with someone who perhaps hasn't been fully honest with you about their circumstances. That's going to be for one group of you, not for all of you. In the challenge, we have the World, which is all about taking something to the next level. The World is a card of graduation. It's moving something to the next step, whether that's a further commitment, whatever that looks like. But there is a moment here where some kind of shift needs to happen. And right now, that feels like that's not moving, that's in the challenge position. That's what needs to happen here. But you're dealing with someone who either isn't able to make that commitment because there's some information that has been hidden from you in terms of, let's say, their status. It might be someone that's separated, but, they may still be going through a divorce, and so they can't make that further commitment to you. But it feels like something that has been kind of, you've been kept in the dark about, and, it's either about to kind of come to light, or it just has for some of you. The hidden influence is the Knight of Pentacles. This, to me, often feels like the energy, in relation to this reading anyway, of someone who knows what's required, but they are just not stepping up. You know, this is almost a stationary energy. Like Earth energy is very slow moving, and the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight in the tarot deck. You know, there is movement, but it's very, very slow usually. And in this reading, you know, with that Seven of Swords there, I just get the sense of somebody, you know, knowing what you want, knowing what they have to do, but for some reason, they are not stepping up to meet you, you know, where you want them to meet you. They're not stepping up to that potential that I saw at the beginning here. And there's something about this. Either way, whatever is going on here, you know, that potential is there, but there's also a sense of dealing with someone who perhaps is not always honest with you. You know, whether it's friends that they're hanging out with, I get the feeling for some of you, there might be a social aspect to this where, you know, they might be out partying a little bit and, you know, or saying they're working late when they're not. And it's just someone that's trying to like pace things, keep a little bit of a distance there because they're not really feeling able, ready to, you know, step up to a further commitment with you. And so there does, you know, there does feel like there's some kind of, you know, dishonest energy going on here. But I do feel for a lot of you, you know, there's something that, yeah, they haven't been honest with about their status here. I just keep getting drawn back to that for some reason. And, you know, and that may be the challenge here. They can't step up. They can't give you that commitment. They can't propose to you, you know, because they're still kind of wrapped up in something legal. Your advice from the universe, the King of Swords. I feel like this is a message around seeing things for as they really are, being in the reality of what is at the moment, because King of Swords energy is all about, you know, deep thinking, using your intellect, using your wisdom. This is all about making decisions around the facts of a situation here. And it might be a moment, it doesn't mean, you know, disregard the feelings in your heart, but you're being asked to actually tap into that inner wisdom, really see things for as they really are in this moment. Because very often, you know, these heart energies are where we get kind of caught up in the potential of something, the dream, who we thought they were going to be in our lives. And sometimes that can create illusions, and you're very much being, you know, asked to really see the whole picture here before, you know, you make any decisions. See things as they really are, not as, you know, you hope they will be. In the outcome, the Seven of Wands, often an energy of someone who's very guarded, but it's also an energy of someone standing in their truth. Even if, you know, it's challenging around you, even if there is some adversity around you, it's all about you staying true to you. And that really is, I feel, the soul lesson here, the invitation from the universe around, you know, not settling for less here, because your needs are not being met, and you absolutely do deserve, you know, to have a partner who can really make that commitment to you and invest in you equally as you're investing in them. So let's get your person's hidden message for you. So this is more for those of you that are in some kind of no contact situation. I keep circling back to the message that I got at the beginning, you know, to really listen to what your soul's saying here, because I feel if you had the courage, if you're brave enough to really listen, I feel like you already know the answer to this. I wish things could be different. We need to let each other go. You are the best thing in my life. I feel you even though we are apart. I don't react when people mention you. Just do one more. I love you unconditionally. So Taurus, I'm going to leave that there. We are going to move on to Virgo. Hi, Virgo. So let me just do a couple more shuffles. One more. Okay, Virgo, let's jump in. I always like to tune in to the energies first, Virgo, before I start pulling any cards. I'm a psychic reader, so I like to see what the universe brings in. I feel like there are many of you out there are getting tired of, waiting is what I'm seeing. I feel like you're waiting for someone to step up, someone, this person that you're connected to move things to the next level. You're waiting for a commitment, or at least to even, say, this is a relationship. And I just feel like you're getting mixed signals. And I feel like it's been like this for quite some time. It's like they're there, but they're at a bit of a distance somehow. I just get the picture of somebody with 1 foot in the connection and 1 foot out. So doing just enough to kind of keep you there, keep you in that energy of, still being there, hoping that perhaps something will change, that things will get better, that they will step up. And I feel like there's a bit of a challenge going on here around staying true to what you really want versus going with the flow and letting things unfold organically. Because there is also something in that, isn't it? It's a delicate balance. Sometimes, yeah, of course, it's to, be clear about, what you want. But sometimes when you first meet someone, it's nice to just kind of flow with, what that energy is in that moment. But I just feel like that's something that's kind of gone on for a while already. And the longer you're in it, the more your heart's going in there, the deeper in you're getting, even though you're telling yourself that you're just kind of going with the flow. And it's starting to get to a point, I feel, where you're compromising your truth and what you really want. And it can be a bit challenging because, once things go on for a while, you start to, get attached. And you start to catch feelings, even if you're telling yourself, don't go too in, don't fall in too fast. Overall energies is the World, card of graduation, moving things to the next level. This is a kind of, moving things to the next level that does require evolvement and growth. So there is an invitation for this. And it usually does represent taking that next step, whatever that looks like. Or in some cases, it can be a completion of something. The World also represents, endings and new beginnings. In the tarot, it's the last card in the major arcana. What comes after this is the Fool, which is a whole new chapter beginning. Your person's view of you is the Magician. It's a card of potential, possibility. There are feelings towards you, the Nine of Pentacles, but yet there is a feeling of independence in that card. Nine of Pentacles is all about independence and someone that, you know, feels free, that feels financially secure, stable. It's usually an energy of somebody saying, I don't really need a relationship. I'm kind of fine as I am. Their intentions towards you, the Queen of Swords. Sometimes that can be where, you know, someone is getting ready to, you know, have a difficult conversation. You might be in no contact at the moment. Because I do feel an energy for many of you of, you know, taking a bit of a step back. And of course, the person that you're dealing with, they're going to feel that. They're going to feel that space between you, that distance between you. Your feelings towards your situation, the Queen of Cups. That's you. That's someone who has a lot to give. But when you look at the image on the card, the lid is on the cup. And I definitely feel like there are some lessons in discernment here. You know, who you give that love to, how much. But there's a lot to give, but you've got to make sure that you're giving that to the right person. And I feel like it's also something that you are learning to treasure. And it feels to me, you know, there's some lessons here around, you know, really staying true to you. And I feel like this is something you might have been working on for a while. And then you've kind of found yourself in this connection where you're kind of going with the flow because you see the potential with this person and this, that, and the other. But just be careful that, you know, that doesn't go on for too long, to the point where you're back in that same pattern of being in something which is on someone else's terms, and, you know, and you end up not staying true to what you really want here. You know, there's definitely a potential there. There's always a potential, but it does involve, you know, both sides being able to, you know, step up to that and embrace it. And I just feel like you're dealing with someone who may be a little bit held back. You know, they may have quite a big career focus at the moment. It might not feel like the right time for them. You know, they may be working towards, you know, getting to a certain financial level before they feel that they are ready to really settle down and make that further commitment. But I definitely feel like, you know, either way, it's starting to push the two of you apart here, because I'm feeling this distance between you. And for those of you that are in a no contact situation, or, you know, there's a conversation that needs to happen here, I do feel like that might be coming, because this is in their intentions. And this is the Queen of Swords. It's all about, you know, cutting through illusions to get to the truth of something. It's all about someone speaking their truth, being very honest, you know, honest, open communication, even if, you know, that is something that is a little bit challenging here. In the challenge, we have the Nine of Wands. This is a very guarded energy. This is somebody that is walled off, closed off, barriered. Can also be someone, you know, that is wounded from their past. They may use, you know, career and being busy at work and it's not the right time as a protection to kind of guard their heart. And I feel like that's gonna, you know, make sense for some of you. Hidden influence is the Eight of Wands. Definitely feels like there's been either, you know, some kind of no contact here, or a shutting down where, you know, you're just not speaking to each other at the moment. With the Eight of Wands, that's usually a sign of communication channels opening, especially if there are some of you who have, you know, been blocked, or you blocked the other person. Usually this represents communication channels opening, incoming messages. You know, this is a very fast-moving energy. It's a very unhindered, unobstructed energy. So definitely feels like, you know, there's going to be some contact. There's going to be a conversation which I feel is going to give you a lot more clarity, a much more kind of truthful, open, honest conversation, I feel, around, you know, on both sides, you know, where both of you are at, what both of you are wanting. Is this something that you can make align? Or is it actually time to, you know, both go your separate ways and take a different path? Because remember, we've got the world there as your overall energies. So endings, beginnings, completions. But either way, whatever happens here is something that will move things to the next level, even if that is, you know, on a very personal level. Your advice from the universe, the Wheel of Fortune. This is your, what I always say, your destiny in motion. This is all about divine timings, interventions. And it's interesting because I was feeling that, you know, sometimes the universe, when things get difficult and we get a little bit stuck in something with someone who, you know, we may love that person, but they may not be good for us, or, you know, they may not be able to really give us what we really want. And sometimes the universe comes in and moves that person out of your life, creates some kind of diversion, and moves that person out of your life because you are meant to take a different path. You know, there's maybe somebody else out there for you in your future. And, you know, this is an energy of change. If things have been tough, you know, it usually represents something getting better or vice versa. But often it's about some kind of redirection. So whatever this conversation brings, whatever the outcome of it, I feel it's very much about trusting what's unfolding here and just knowing that it is for your highest and best. And if it is a completion, then, you know, just trust that that is a path that you are meant to walk. And, you know, as you start to go down that path, you know, it will get clearer to you. It is something that, you know, after some time passes, you can look back and understand, you know, why things unfolded the way that they did. In your outcome, the Page of Cups. So this is either a renewal, you know, of this connection, or if it is a completion here, this is indicating that there's going to be some kind of new offer of love for you. A new cup of love. So some kind of new beginning in love. So Virgo, let's get your person's hidden message for you. So trust what's unfolding, but I do see a conversation coming up, so just be ready for that. Virgo. So this is more for those of you who are in some kind of no contact situation. I know that I crossed the line with you. I hid who I really am from you. That's that guarded energy that I was feeling earlier. I want to tell you how I feel. So many things remind me of you. You came closer than anyone. Feels that they still have a little bit of work to do on themselves though, but you came closer than anyone. So Capricorn, we are going to move on. Capricorn. Okay, let's jump in. So Capricorn, I always like to tune into the energies first before I start pulling any cards. I'm a psychic reader, so I like to see, you know, what the universe shows me. Instantly seeing betrayal, it's reminding me of the reading that I did for you, your monthly reading, that there was an energy of a betrayal, disappointment, third-party energy, somebody being chosen, and this awful energy of comparison that was going on with you, between you and this person. You know, what do they have that I don't? Like, it's such a horrible place to kind of find yourself at sometimes. With your overall energies, we have the Hanged Man. It's an invitation to take a pause, take a step back. It's all about seeing things from a different perspective. The Hanged Man always represents an external situation. So you have the Hermit as well. The Hermit is more of an inner journey where we're going within looking for answers. We're tapping into our inner wisdom. But the Hanged Man is about gaining a new perspective on something external that's happening. With your person's view of you, we have the Hierophant. Their feelings towards you, the King of Swords. Their intentions towards you, the Seven of Wands. That's someone who is very held back, very guarded. The Hierophant in a love reading, it usually represents commitment, and it represents strong foundations and connections which are built on shared values. But when I look at their feelings towards you, I have the King of Swords, which is someone who is more of a deep thinker. And this is someone who tends to think their feelings. They're quite difficult to read emotionally, and they're someone that really leads with, I feel, you know, logic. They make their decisions based on, let's say, the facts of a situation. And I feel that very often that there can be a degree of emotional connection missing when you're dealing with, you know, a King of Swords energy. Because this is someone, I feel, that is holding back. They're guarding their heart. They're barriered. Your feelings towards your person, Five of Swords. So it feels like there's been some conflict. I'm feeling for many of you, there's some kind of betrayal that's happened here. With the Hierophant there, you know, this may be something that you both started off seeing the potential, you know, seeing the potential long-term in the connection with each other. But I feel as time has gone on, there has definitely been, you know, some things missing in this connection, because I'm feeling a Capricorn that is, you know, not feeling emotionally supported, prioritized. Your needs are not being met in the way that you need them to be met. Somehow it's this feeling of the connection not being honored somehow. So you're not feeling acknowledged, the connection's not feeling honored. And there may have been some conflict, you know, you may have expressed your needs, what you're needing from them. And, you know, there could have been arguments here. You know, the Five of Swords often represents these kind of ego-driven battles where, you know, someone's digging their heels in, they're wanting to be right. And often it's when harsh words are spoken, things are said in the heat of the moment that aren't necessarily really meant, that aren't necessarily true. But it's this energy of, you know, somebody wanting to win at all costs here. I feel like you're dealing with someone who, instead of working on the issues in the connection here, instead of having the courage to, go within to look at themselves, because I'm just seeing you shining a spotlight on their issues, on their insecurities, the ways in which, you're needing them to step up. And I feel like you're dealing with someone who finds it very, very difficult to do that. And instead of, finding the courage to go within, really look at themselves, really kind of dig deep and, have a good, honest look at how they are showing up in the connection. This is someone who's closed off from their heart. They're closed off from their feelings. They may have had a past betrayal or a hurt, which has, made them a very barriered person. And particularly when they come into a situation like it is with you, where what's on the table here on your side is true, genuine, healthy love. But to be able to embrace that requires growth, and it requires opening the heart. It requires being vulnerable, being seen. And this is where I feel they're closed off, they're barriered. This isn't somebody I feel is ready to really open up their heart. It feels too vulnerable for them. It doesn't feel safe. It feels like a risk. I feel like you're challenging them to grow, and I feel like that's what, this Five of Swords is all about, this conflict that's happened. You're challenging them to grow. You're challenging them to be a better person. And instead of stepping up to the plate here, Capricorn, I feel they have gone where it's emotionally safer with somebody who they might look a certain way, they might have a certain lifestyle, but that person, to me, doesn't feel like they're challenging them to grow. And so for them, it feels emotionally safer. But what I really feel is as they get further down the line with that connection, it's going to be part of an old pattern of theirs, very sort of surface level, superficial, where ultimately, deep down inside, their soul wants real love. But in order to have that, they've got to get through those wounds. They've got to heal those wounds from the past. And so, going where it's emotionally safer, it's okay for a little while, but at a certain point, they're back in the pattern of, it's not fulfilling on a deeper level. And what they want really is what, you are offering here, is what I'm feeling anyway. In the challenge, we have the Eight of Swords. This is an energy of feeling stuck. This is someone who is stuck in negative, limiting beliefs, fears, worries. That might be beliefs about, oneself, about life. And, this could be you. This could be the person that you're connected with, or both of you right now. The hidden influence, the devil. Toxic energy. Old negative patterns. Very much an energy of a trauma bond is what I'm feeling here. It might be on your side, Capricorn, to really examine your own past, go back to childhood and see if there's anything that feels familiar to your childhood about this situation now. It might be the betrayal, it might be, the energy of a parent that was there, but they were emotionally at a distance, or, love wasn't shown to you in the way that you needed. Because there's a lot of uncertainty here, and not feeling, honored and chosen. And very often we create what's familiar to childhood. So this could be an opportunity here to really do some deep healing here, Capricorn, because ultimately that's all we can ever do is work on ourselves. We can't do the work for other people. We can only work on ourselves. And even though it's a little bit challenging, you know, with every connection that we have, if we go into it with the energy of, you know, learning and growing and becoming a better person no matter what, then you've already won. And so the universe, I feel, is really asking you to break free from perhaps this old pattern of yours of, you know, choosing someone who isn't able to really love you in the way that you need. And the invitation here is always to find this within yourself, because really, you know, other people are just mirrors, and they will have been mirroring to you the relationship that you're having with yourself. And that's why I feel go back in time, have a look at your childhood. What were the patterns? You know, what can you heal? And really learn the soul lessons in this, because it feels like a trauma bond to me. And when you shift your energy, when you learn those lessons and you embody them, then your vibration changes and you can start to attract connections, someone who can actually match that energy of you loving yourself. When you start pouring into you and loving yourself, you attract someone that can do the same for you. And that's the invitation here. You're being asked to see this whole situation from a different perspective. And very often, you know, the way that, you know, I find really helps with these situations is to always look at the healing. You know, what is something illuminating for you? What is it that you're being asked to heal, resolve? Because ultimately the universe wants you to break free. There's more for you. There's someone better for you. In the advice, the Three of Wands, this is about, you know, moving out of your comfort zone, a new beginning, new possibilities. It's about growth, expansion. There's more out there for you. And in the outcome, the Ace of Cups, some kind of new beginning, some kind of new beginning in love. You know, aces are water energy. It's all about emotion and love, following your heart, and really just trusting that there is some kind of new cup of love that will be coming in for you, and one that, you know, will be able to, I feel, pour back into you, like the image on the card there, you know, pour that love back into you the way that you are loving that person, you know, so your needs being met here. So Capricorn, let's get your person's hidden message for you. So this is more for those of you who are in some kind of no contact situation. Capricorn, I regret lying to you. Because I do feel there's been a betrayal here for many of you. And it may well be, you know, that, yeah, as time passes, you know, there may be some regrets. I'm grateful for the spiritual lesson. I'm so attracted to you. I looked exactly at the devil when I pulled that card for you. So just be careful. You know, if this person comes back around again, just make sure that's real. Because the Ace of Cups is also sometimes a new, you know, some kind of renewal. But just watch out for those devil energies. I wonder if you are happy without me. I look for you everywhere. So Capricorn, I'm going to leave that there. If this reading resonated, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, no matter what comes through in a reading, moving forwards, always trust what feels right for you. So thanks so much for being here, and I wish you a great month ahead.